Hey guys, Dr. Nathan and Dr. Rebecca Warren here from Doctors Warren. And this past week, we have been focusing on fasting and different fasting techniques, from intermittent fasting to alternate day fasting, and block fasting. That's the last video that Dr. Nathan made. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go into our videos and watch them. Really great resources. And so I wanted to take a second and talk about his and her fasting. And so it's funny because when I told you, you were like, what are you going to talk about? But I wanted to share with you guys what it looks like to implement fasting for a woman, and my own personal experience and your own personal experience, especially for you. What's really cool is that we talk about diet variation and eating for your body, and you and I are opposites. I can fast for a really long time, and I can eat a lot more plant-based than you and feel fantastic. But you don't feel great like that.
I think it was, we first noticed that, I think we were getting our doctor in Atlanta, so that was probably, goodness gracious, what, 6 years ago now, 7 years ago now, something like that. And anyway, she wanted to do more of a vegan, style diet.
I wanted to go vegan, but like real.
Plant-based. I mean, she was eating really good food, but we did that. You did that for what, 6 weeks, or was it 6 months? I can't even remember nowadays. But I did it with her, and I'll tell you right now, I felt horrible. I felt so bad. It was one of the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. While she was like, man, this feels amazing. This is great. And I knew right then, I'm like, man, my body, the way it was designed, the way it was created, I do so much better when I actually incorporate some animal fat and animal protein into my diet, because just as soon as I add that back in, it was like, bam, my energy level skyrocketed. The way that my body felt, the way that my body looked, it completely changed it. So yeah, that was kind of my first introduction to knowing that the way that we eat and the way that we do things are different, right? And that we're an individual when it comes to our nutrition.
Yeah, so I'll talk about just really quickly about my experience intermittent fasting postpartum and while nursing, and my experience with block fasting. And so I did successfully intermittent fast very well while breastfeeding, but I also was very aware of how much fat and calories I was eating during my eating window. And I find the biggest problem that women have postpartum, or if they're nursing, when they're intermittent fasting, is consuming enough calories. I can't even tell you how many women I've had to take off of intermittent fast because they were not consuming enough calories, and that's them not nursing. So consuming enough calories is huge. If you're not consuming enough calories and they're not coming from good quality fat, you shouldn't intermittent fast. And that's where a lot of women have issues, especially postpartum, when they're intermittent fasting. So I intermittent fast. I tandem nurse, so I was still nursing my toddler and my newborn, and then Rosie for a really long time before I stopped to detox. But we was over a year and a half of nursing. So I realized that when my body was under stress, I wasn't going to stick to fasting. I was going to listen to my body. So some days I didn't intermittent fast because I needed to listen to my body. I knew I was under stress. So that meant I need more calories and more good quality fat. So I worked really hard to keep my milk supply up by eating the calories and the correct calories. So that was really big. I don't recommend jumping straight into a block fast if you stop nursing, because a lot of hormones are changing within your body. So give yourself some time to kind of normalize, love and support your body for the amazing journey of birthing a baby and nursing a baby. Now, since I've stopped nursing, intermittent fasting, I actually experiment with it a lot more. So I'll go 20 hours and just eat 4-hour windows, and I might do more 24-hour fast throughout the week, whether twice a week or 3 times a week. I wouldn't recommend that if you're nursing. I will say, if you have tendencies to have hormone imbalances, which with me not having a thyroid, and I'm continuously and will for the rest of my life work to heal my body, I have to be aware that before I had my thyroid taken out, I had anxiety. And as I'm balancing out my body's hormones without a thyroid, I can jump into these moments of anxiety when I fast. So be aware of what your body is doing and don't push yourself very hard. The first block fast I did, I really struggled with having that anxiety, and I actually did that first block fast trying to come off of nursing. So between like my nursing hormones out of whack and my thyroid hormones balancing out, it was really hard. And there was no shame in, stopping on day 3 and then loving on my body, giving myself probiotics, giving myself a break, and then doing the 5-day fast again. So for women, it's just really important that you're eating enough calories, that you're paying attention to where your calories are coming from during an intermittent fast, and to not jump into a block fast until you feel like your hormones are balanced, your adrenals are balanced, your hormones are better. You don't have to be perfect, because part of fasting is healing. So that's my personal experience.
And I think you touched on a really good thing, because I even had a conversation with a patient earlier about, hey, you need to increase your calories throughout the day, because she was really struggling with thyroid and things like that, and saying, hey, this is going to help you out a lot. She's gotten her body into ketosis, and now I'm like, okay, don't be afraid to increase your calories, your good healthy calories. Is going to help you.
You'll lose weight too when you do that.
Yep. And then sometimes dealing with, and this is more my personal experience, because there was a couple of years ago, I hit like a brick wall. It was like, boom, like no matter what I did, I was exhausted all the time. I would literally have to take a nap in the middle of the day just to kind of get through my day. And I had to recognize, man, I had to really up my calories, and I'll be honest with you, I'm still not good at it. Like I still struggle with this one personally. And when I remember to do it, well, I always feel a million times better when I'm increase my calories, because it supports my adrenals. And so the other thing that I've found as well too is I think for me, I actually do better when I switch it up throughout the week, like vary it. If I just intermittent fast the exact same regimented every single day, I tend to wear out. Whereas if I'll say, maybe I'm going to do 2 or 3 days where I'm intermittent fasting 16 to 18 hours, and then I'll do one day, usually my Wednesdays, where I'll do like a dinner to dinner fast, and then Saturdays and Sundays, and I might throw one more in there, I'll actually eat, breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack, and I'm still eating really good quality food. But at the same time, I'm having like those feast days. And when I added more feast days in, I really seemed to thrive well. Yeah, so I think I spent a lot of time in the autophagy stage, where I broke down a lot of damaged cells. And now my body's in a phase where I need to rebuild it, right, and repair it. And it's just as important as the autophagy stage. So, that's kind of what my experience have been. And that's been the best for me, and it still helps to prepare me for like a 5-day water fast, so that I'm successful with it.
I was gonna say too, because with you we had to learn that the hard way, because you pushed your fasting techniques. And so I think the biggest thing that we've both have gathered with our own health journeys when it comes to fasting is the whole point of fasting is to be in tune with your body and allow your body to heal.
Yep.
But that means understanding what you need. Today I had a consult with someone, and I said, I got this question asked last week too by a new practice member. We don't have a set diet for anyone that we coach, because everybody is different, and what you need to succeed is going to be different. So it's about listening to your body. For me, it's fasting, it's balancing my hormones, and being aware of my mental wellness. And for you, it was you definitely needed more feast days.
Yeah, I had to. And I think it's a good point. That's why we want to educate you guys on how to do nutrition for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
No, that's amazing. But I think also too, just like you also feel better. Like you can see changes in your workout. You can see changes even in the office, and like your ability to kind of push through the day.
Yep, no doubt. Yep, it helps me increase my muscle mass, helps me to, again, just have energy throughout the day. But yeah, that's why you have to understand the principles behind, fasting. That's why we're teaching you guys that. That's why you have to understand the principles behind the good food to eat, and why that's necessary to incorporate good healthy fats, lots of different plants and things like that, so that you can understand how to vary it according to your individuality, and then also according to the season that you're in, because you're always going to change seasons. You're going to go through massive amounts of stress. You're going to have different things that seem to pop up, and you're going to have other times where you're rolling and you're doing great and everything is great. So you may want to change it up there too. So you go through different seasons. So you have to understand the principles behind how to eat well, and also how to utilize fasting as a lifestyle. And some of it's trial and error as well, right?
Oh, major trial and error.
And the only way you can learn is by actually going out and doing it and practicing.
So what's you'll say, just to wrap it up, what your favorite fasting technique is, and I'll say what my favorite is.
Man, so far my favorite fasting technique has been I would just kind of piggyback what I just talked about, like a 5-1-1 or a 4-2-1, which is 4 or 5 days of intermittent fasting for anywhere from 16 to 20 hours, and then including a 1-day dinner to dinner fast, and then 1 or 2 days of a feast day where I'm still eating good food. I'm just eating a lot more, throughout that day.
Yeah. And so someone asked, is it normal to have headaches and feel weak before breakfast?
Before breakfast. Is it normal? I would say headaches are never a normal thing. They may be a common thing, but usually it's something. It's telling your body something. Now, if you're just getting into fasting, right? If this is something new for you, then that is something that is very common. We see that experienced a lot as your body's trying to get used to being fat adapted and going from utilizing blood sugar, and some people even have really like too high blood sugar in the morning, some have too low, so you're trying to kind of balance that out. Now if you've been doing it for a while and you're still experiencing headaches, to me that says, hey, there's a secondary thing going on here. That's where I would say, hey, you need to get maybe find you a structural corrective chiropractor in your area, get your cervical curve examined, get some work done there. I would also look into saying, hey, do you have your own source of toxicity, or mold, right, is a big one that creates headaches. And I would start kind of trying to dive a little bit deeper. So I guess I would say it depends. Weakness, I'm not a big fan of that either. That symptom is something that you shouldn't experience. Maybe if you're doing a longer term like block fast, weakness could show up there. But I think if we're just talking about intermittent fasting, maybe in the first week of transition, but past that, you really shouldn't see a lot of weakness.
I think it comes down to too, if you're feeling that way during breakfast, then what are you eating during the day? Because if you're a sugar burner during the day, all day, you're going to have a crash. You're going to have a crash with your blood sugar. You're going to have a crash with your insulin. So I think the first step, I think you're completely right. As you're transitioning to a fat burner, you can feel that way. But the weakness and maybe that headaches, you could be having a blood sugar crash, which means you're not consuming enough fat and calories. But I see that as well with the people I coach, is that there might be, give yourself about a week to increase your good quality fats and calories during the day to set you up for the next day's intermittent fast. But if you've transitioned now for a week or two and you're having that, then you need to get down to some underlying causes.
Yeah, and I will say one last thing on that too, is make sure that you are hydrated at a cellular level. There's a difference there between drinking a lot of water and actually being hydrated at a cellular level. So what I mean by that is you need minerals. If you don't have enough minerals in your diet, or maybe you supplement with minerals, if you don't have enough, those minerals are not going to push the water into the cell, and so you'll have a lot that kind of flush out. It's actually a misnomer that you should have clear pee. That means that you have that you're hydrated. That's actually not true. Hydration at a cellular level will actually produce some color to your urine. So maybe try adding some good salt to your water, like Himalayan pink salt or Celtic sea salt, and see if that helps to get rid of those headaches.
Absolutely. And so just to wrap it up, I think my favorite technique, I actually like the idea of block fasting. And you always have to remind me.
I think sometimes too much. Yeah.
You're like, chill out. There's more ways to fast.
Right? Yeah.
But I like the knowing that no matter what happens throughout my life, I can have these days to kind of focus on healing, focus on my body, and just get rid of things and allow my body to do what it needs to do.
Yep.
But there are so many techniques. So, guys, if you are fasting, let us know. If you have any questions after this, make sure to leave a comment here. If we get asked a lot of big questions, we'll make sure, we always make sure to try to jump on a Facebook Live and answer that for you. And make sure to share. You guys have a blessed day.
See you later.